Video is going to be concerning the only thing I can contribute to the story that I'm going to read to you. The location someone was found. 1957, February 25th, at the GPS location in the upper left-hand corner, along a 15-foot wide road called Susquehanna in Rockledge, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, near a place called Good Shepherd School or Home for Wayward Girls, and in northwest Philly's Fox Chase neighborhood near Fox Chase Farm was found a royal blue corduroy men's cap with a leather strap and buckle on the back. That was at the end of a path that was beaten 17 feet through the weeds and underbrush to a deceased child, found wrapped in a common, generic, cheap, imitation Indian blanket, partially damaged. And this was inside of a labeled cardboard box that was traceable to it having contained a $7.50 basenet from a shipment sent from Upper Darby, J.C. Penney's. It had been received by them in 1956, November 27th, and resold sometime between December 3rd, 1956, to February 16th, 1957, very soon before the body was found. All customers that had paid for any of those part of that lot had paid in cash. They left no record, and either when they were finally tracked down by people asking in the newspapers, please volunteer to show up, the ones that came by said, I have the box, or others said, I tossed it out on this date, and there were neighbors in the area that said, yeah, people came by and picked up the cardboard boxes because people would recycle them, because it was around about Christmas time or after Christmas time, and people were boxing up stuff. In 1957, it is noted only in two places, but it's noted in two places. The road that we're mentioning only stretched a half of a mile. In 2022, Susquehanna Road, however, refers to one that runs from 760 Johns Lane, almost 9 miles southeast, to 1090 Old Fort Road by Fox Chase Farm. Then it resumes after Fox Chase Farm again as a 1/2 mile section, and may be confused with another inline section that's also a half mile long or so that's called Fox Chase Road. He was found at what is now, however, 724 Susquehanna Road, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and or that GPS location. The GPS location at the bottom narrowed it down very closely, and more importantly, it was mentioned two places. The fact that it was incredibly difficult to find out where the boy in the box was found is wrong. It shouldn't be that difficult. Now I'm going to show you the images that I was able to dig up. Some of these I've altered slightly because I'm cleaning up garbage people put on them because they decided to put it on Pinterest and Instagram. And I'd love to find the original clean copies, but apparently that's not going to happen. Some of these, in fact, all of them were, at least one or two, most of these were in color at one time. Now we see here that the road goes uphill. Now I want to point out a couple of things. This is the pile where the child's body was found. This is a pole with a mailbox next to it for the school or home for wayward girls. Over here we have a tree that has a horizontal branch coming out, and on the end of it, its lateral bud or section has been broken off, so the tree responds to this reactively by forming terminal runners, 3 of them in this case. We see the poles going up the hill, and today's date, there would be another section of road over here, but right now this is basically a single-lane road. And by the way, if you follow the road far enough, it goes back to being a single-lane road for about a half a mile in another location, which is confusing. Now we'll go to the next one. This is the scene where the child was found. That's the cardboard box he was found in. He was dead. He was a little kid. These are the 2 cars that were there when they took a photo for the crime scene and or for recording it for court case if needed to be. the cars weren't left there for reference, so we don't have them. Here is the look going the other way from this road. We see it going this way. It goes uphill. Again, this one is going uphill and then goes downhill, and this one seems to go down and then back up. Down here we see the pole that we were behind when we have this other photo. Right here, there's the mailbox. So these are cameramen or camera photos looking back at each other's location. And this is right between them. In fact, this mess of whatever that is right there. This was a garbage heap area, right outside of an area where nuns were taking care of wayward girls. Now, we're going to look at this same scene today and also 2003. This is the 2003 version of it, approximately. And we're going to look at it from 2007. This is the 2007 version of the same scene, and it is hard to find anything to connect it with. One of the investigators from the 1950s talked to a news magazine and showed them a picture of where it happened. Now, it was originally misidentified by the other road name, probably by the magazine. That and the fact that the road names changed repeatedly because they were broken up at one time or another. Now, the only thing on this road you can use to identify any of this is the trees, because, see that? And that? These are duplicated. These are duplicated for a distance of almost 10 miles, row after row of houses with almost identical patterning. It's infuriating. Now I'm going to bring you back to the original, we'll call it the west-facing road. Okay, can we match this up? Well, we really shouldn't, but I'm going to. We do actually see some of these poles from the 1950s being used. I want to point out that knob there and that. That may actually be the same pole. I can't tell exactly, but it could be. More likely, however, this pole here, being down the road a bit, is that one. So it's that one. Things have changed over the years, and we're not going to find any pattern to it. So we have to use something more simple. The angle. This goes uphill and then tops out. Tops out right there. So we're a little further up here. We're standing up here because it's much, much longer in the picture that's older. When we turn around this way, we will now look down in the 1950s. And we do get kind of the same sort of perspective, but not quite. So, yeah, we're kind of, that is the pole, most likely, right? Well, it could be. So what we're going to do is we have to rely on an investigative journalist who made a mistake in 2003, identifying this as the wrong road, and start over. This is 2003. This is 2007. It's 4 years later. Let's look for connections with the trees. I've done this a million times, so I'm just going to explain this really quickly. This is identified by one of the investigators that studied the case and was on it. And there's a pole pig pole. This is a pole that has a pole pig, a transformer on it. It's across the street from another telephone pole. And there's one telephone pole here. And we have two trees. And right here, you'll notice there's an upswing wedge thing. That's a chunk of cement. We see a driveway here, and this is the approximate location where the baby was found. So we're going to look here. Here's the ridge edge, right there. There is the edge there in the tree. There's the second tree, and there's the pole pig pole, and then there's the crossing area there, the crossbuck thing. Okay, now, let's line this up as best we can. I'm going to line up the base here with the tree. See how badly I can do this. It's not like I've been trying to do this for an hour. Because it required there be two trees and a pole pig and a pole, these pole pigs are not found very often in any section of even the 9 miles of other road. Yes, I went along all 9 miles just in case I got this wrong. Now, the first thing we'll notice is a branch set here, a pair, and a pair here. Branch paired, another pair here. We got one going off that way, one going off that way. Now here we have our second tree down here. Now I'm going to have to move, but that's most likely it. And the most likely location, getting to the point, is right here in the middle of the road, because originally this was, this dirt road here ended right here, so he was found here, approximately. So we're going to go down there and compare what we can't see from this angle. So let's go down here one notch. And now we're back, we're now at that second tree. Now if we look at it, we see double branching here, triple, like doink, doink, and then up. Okay, let's see if we see that here. Kinda. So it's not a really great match. So we have to use something else. This tree in the background. It's this tree here. Now, this doesn't look like it's going to match until we look at this. The cement upswing, that's the only one on the whole section that matches close enough. And that is most likely it. Now, the reason I'm having to say most likely and such like this is, number one, even though it was a case, it's a cold case, it's an unsolved murder, nobody took out a GPS of it. Nobody did latitude and longitude. No one just took out a map and said, this is where the body was found. Because they didn't want curiosity-seeking people showing up to the location being annoying, as you know people will do. But that is absolutely the location. That's it. Now I want to point out why you wouldn't be able to confirm it and why this made me go in circles for about an hour. This is 2007. This is 2012, and the tree should be right there, and it isn't. They cut out the tree right there. They literally removed the tree. I mean, it was right there. It's not anymore. So when you look at it in today's mapping, or the more recent mapping, you find that the tree being missing means that this is what you're going to see when you look there. So we've gone all the way from this to this. And it gets even worse later on because things are just absolutely not going to match because people keep cutting down trees. So I'd like to thank the 2 or 3 people that actually put up the actual GPS location. They put it up written like this, and that got me within a ballpark. And one website, and only one website I want to point out, actually posted this address at 724 Susquehanna as being the accurate location. Only a couple. I had to look for people who corroborated it twice. Also want to point out that up that way was the house for wayward girls. And, well, when you look in the direction, they didn't turn around. Nobody at the time when this happened turned to the left or turned to the right and photographed the building, which would have looked like that or maybe looked different. I don't know. I also want to point out that due to some shakeups in a specific church, most of the historical listings for these buildings were removed. What that means is before the 1950s, actually 1960s, that school was basically using the girls that they were supposed to be taking care of, and orphans, as slave labor. Now I'm going to bring up a couple of things. No, I'm not doing this as a true crime video. I'm just pointing out I was able to find out where this body was, which is not being mentioned even on the Wikipedia page, and they won't let anybody post it. You get flagged for it. So, okay. The number of people who could be suspects is 0. But the number of people who could have done it or have known something about it is ridiculously large because of what I just mentioned about that school. The next thing is, there was a dozen other sources of information in the area. Nobody was talking. That's frustrating. The guy who was the forensic fingerprint expert who identified the actual location of this, the location where the body was found, was very frustrated till the day he dropped dead about this. In fact, maybe he's still alive. But the point is, there have been a couple of books and some TV shows and movies done about this, but none of them shed any light on where the body was exactly. It was 724 Susquehanna Drive, and more accurately, it was specifically right there at that corner with right here. That was pretty much it. From there into the middle of the road is the approximate location. Anyway, and yes, I did clean up this image by getting rid of the stupid arrow everybody put in it. If anybody knows where the original imaging is for, the original photos, that would be really, really great. Because Evidence getting tainted by people putting arrows on it, everything but the little red crayon circle on it, drives me insane. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And I hope this has been useful to the one or two of you on the planet that might be trying to bash their head against this. I've presented you the GPS location and the physical street address to use. Good day. Good luck with that.